And we're already live. Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Welcome to this other Sunday of streamingness. And again, we're already starting off with technical difficulties. Isn't this wonderful? This is how it goes, what you would expect here. Thank you so much for dropping by. Cool, so Mr. Julius is also here, and I'm afraid you're horribly out of sync apparently, because when you posted your answer to the pop quiz, it was already after accepting questions. So, and yeah, Lightfill, I finally managed to use the trough in the cases, in the COVID cases that we're having right now, to get my hair done. And now the cases are slowly but steadily increasing again, because of course they are. And so, yeah, but at least I could have a big chunk of my hair cut off, and it was glorious. It only took 3.5 hours and cost me a small fortune, because yeah. So I hope you like it. What all the things that I do to keep you entertained and hopefully not turned away in sheer disgust at my hair. I shouldn't be bumping the table too much, because every time there's a small earthquake on the camera and the autofocus is completely thrown off, and yeah, you know how those things spiral. So I didn't say unicorn this time, but I already have prepared a glass of water. So cheers to everyone who's here. And I hope you had a great week, because I surely did. It was a bit exhausting because I'm on vacation. It's my 1 week of vacation this summer. Still got some days next week, but then it's all back in the trot as it is. So the good thing about this is, of course, I spend a lot of time in the cafe really trying to chill, trying not to worry too much about all the things that need to be done at work and elsewhere. And at the same time, it was a bit exhausting, because visiting parents, and it's always a long drive in either direction. And so yeah, we've seen family now on both sides. So I'm through with driving. And for those who don't know, here in Austria, we're having weird floods, especially in Germany. There were some tragic occurrences where entire townships were flooded, and yeah, with people missing, with people dead. It's just a catastrophe, and we had our taste of it this weekend. And as I said, I was visiting family, and we drove to Tyrol. And in the beautiful city of Kufstein, I was parked there in the garage for a couple of hours when we were having burgers. And a couple of hours later, I saw on the news this very same garage that I had parked in completely flooded. So yeah, I dodged this bullet, and yeah, the drive back today was also not very fun, with 2.5 hours just mostly being stuck in traffic with rain pounding down. But apart from that, I can't complain. So yeah, I hope it's gone now. I mean, the sky, from what I can see, is clear outside. So yeah, hopefully things should clear up. Cool. I was wondering if you were affected by that, says Lady Miss Leaf. And yeah, good thing I wasn't really. Also here in Salzburg, there is the river that runs through the town that is called aptly the Salzach, and it was dangerously high, but it didn't overflow. So this is good. And also, I'm here now in a attic apartment. Well, not the attic actually, but yeah, it's close. It's directly under the rooftop, so I'm not affected here. Also, then the next river that could flood is 0.5 kilometer or even further into this direction. There's also a slight incline. So yeah, I haven't checked the basement with all the Commodores that I store there and the plastic instruments from Guitar Hero, but so far, thank goodness I'm safe. For us in Canada, writes Lady Miss Leaf, Western Canada, not us, thank goodness, there's severe droughts and a lot of grain and cattle are being affected. Yeah, this is entirely weird this year, where it's been getting worse each and every year, but it feels right now, especially after 2020-21, this entire climate catastrophe thing really has arrived. Also for us here in the middle of Europe, where we usually weren't that affected, we had some very mild winters and very hot summers. But yeah, what's going on with thunderstorms and flooding and also droughts this year, it's just crazy. So yeah, I don't know what you can do about it, but yeah, arrange yourself with how things are. And yeah, this is why I got the fan from the basement to our apartment a couple of weeks earlier this year than the weeks before, the years before. So yeah, this is what I can do. Just deal with the consequences. Kosovo floods. Oh no, yeah, it's what's going on in Germany. Like I said, it's crazy. We have flooding seasons, but we had nothing this year. Oh, that's good. At least you could stay clear of it this year. Very. The things that are happening now with nature and everything, and also this horrible gas leak at the bottom of the, what was it, the Gulf of Mexico, where we had this Eye of Sauron burning on the ocean floor. It's just horrible what's going on in terms of climate and everything. So, but as an individual, all you can do is make the right choices and deal with the consequences, because if some, I don't know, some big corporations just give F all and it's not so much as an individual as you can do, just apart from demanding changes. But yeah, this is why it's the little things that I do. I just donate to the good causes and try to put my signature under pretty much any climate petition there is. So yeah, this is my little things that I try to deal with it. I think Corona was not enough of a challenge for us. Exactly, right? I mean, we've handled Corona pretty well, but now it's we're back to good old climate catastrophes. So clearly, the Earth is trying to kill us off, and we're just too stubborn to go extinct, apparently. Corona was easy mode, hard mode is coming. With that wonderful start that we're off to, let's talk about game development. But apart from that, I really try not to worry too much, because it's something that really costs you sleep, and there is not a lot that you can do as an individual, especially not from one day to the next, apart from dealing with it. So this is why I try to not shut it out entirely, but just try to distance myself. Otherwise, you just go crazy. So wonderful. Okay, so let's try to switch the mood to something soothing and nice, to a beautiful, wonderful, relaxing escape from the horrible reality that we're in, and that is SugarCube 2. It sounds nice, and it's also a pretty cool format. So I want to continue where I left off last week. I did some coding in the meantime. It was just chill, relaxed vacation programming. So it wasn't something that I sunk many hours into, but it was nice just to have something that's you can't technically polish, like I had in my post-mortem of Power MT, where I said I chose Twine or text games because you can't polish them, until I realized you can tweak the CSS, and there goes my no polishing credo out the window. Lady Misleaf says, all right, I'll ask you something then, if you don't mind. Sure, ask away. Viewer discretion is advised, and I might not answer, depending on the question. I'm still deciding on whether or not to start streaming in the next few weeks. Any tips for a new streamer? Oh dear, I don't think I'm very good at streaming, so I think you've kind of caught me off guard here, because I don't really know what I could recommend to you, because all the things that I'm doing, apparently I'm doing wrong. Because from what I've learned, the most important thing is to have a schedule that you you don't really deviate from. But with me, you know it, sometimes I stream early on a Sunday, sometimes I have to forgo a Sunday, sometimes, as it was months back, I was able to stream sometime during the week. So I think having a schedule is probably the best thing to start out with. And apart from that, just be yourself, have fun, and interact with viewers, because I think this is the great benefit of streaming. Is just I'm home alone. Well, not entirely alone, but I'm alone here in my office, and I'm still get to hang with all of you once a week, which I find is quite wonderful, and also that I get to read what your comments are. So we're interacting, and that I really think that's the most fun part of streaming. And Mr. Julius says, let's put it this way: you have more experience than me. Yeah. Probably, but not by much. Mr. Julius says, I'm streaming for a few years, and best tip for me is to just start. The rest will come with your experience. Exactly. I realize sometimes I'm having bad days, but I'm streaming and I really feel that this didn't go well. I wasn't as witty or fast or quick-witted as I wanted to be, such as today, where I'm struggling for words, and then I watch it, just go through it, and then it's not that bad. I think one of my friends said the worst thing is seeing yourself on camera and hearing your voice. But with all the cameras that we have now in our lives, thanks to phones and such, I think everyone is already used to being on camera, even if it's just goofing off for their friends. So I think, just be yourself. Don't try to be something that you aren't, because I think this is probably the hardest part. I mean, maybe if you're a comedian and you're playing a role like Stephen Colbert for the Colbert Report, maybe that could work. But apart from that, I would say, just be yourself, have fun, and as Mr. Julius said, the rest will come. I hope that I think that's the only thing that I can actually recommend. In terms of software, OBS, I think it's a staple for everyone, because it's quite fully featured. You can have, as I have the chat here, it's just a website that loads. Same thing with my pop quiz. It's just a website that has webhooks into my Node.js server. So if you want to go crazy about this sort of thing, it's very cool that you can also have it displayed in OBS. And get a decent camera, decent microphone, because I think personally for me as a viewer, is the most off-putting to me is having a bad microphone, where it's like a headset microphone that sounds like it's through a telephone, and the microphone is here, so you can hear mostly the breathing noises, and everything is just clipped as soon as the streamer is talking a bit too loudly. I think personally, to me at least, this is the most off-putting. Apart from that, no worries. Ironically, I need to learn Node.js, says Lady Misleaf. Wonderful! Now you have a topic for your first stream, if you want to stream programming. And Jelly7 says, my advice, make a second account and use it to test your setup in advance. Oh, that's a good one. Maybe I should have done this, otherwise we wouldn't have this plethora of technical difficulties almost every week. Streaming takes a surprising amount of resources, so all your programs might feel more sluggish than usual. Use a wired internet, not a wired use a wired internet, not Wi-Fi. Oh, and never stop talking. Oh, this is also something, but it depends on your personality. With some streamers, when they are doing strategy games or something, and they go silent because they need to read something that's going on in the game, or they are super concentrated. To me as a viewer, it's like, please tell me what you're thinking. I want to follow your train of thought and maybe comment on it, or just be able to follow the game that you're playing. And again, this is just my personal experience as a viewer, is that say something. I want to know what you're thinking. This is why I'm watching your stream, so please say something. And the automated unicorn just sparkled up what Lady Misleaf said to Jellism. Also ironically, I have a hard time shutting up. Wonderful. Welcome to the world of streaming. I think you're gonna be absolutely fine. Right, so my detective game, back to where we were. I can show you the current state. As I said, I was working a little bit in the cafe. Let's make this bigger. Is this easy to read? I think it should be easy to read. So for those who pay very close attention, what has changed is the color of the font. It's a bit dark grayish so that other things stand out more, and it's a different font. Because I thought, the good old Georgia font is maybe a little bit too dusty, some might say even moldy. So I switched, to this font, and I have no idea what font this is. Let's check. Let's check which font family it is. It is Bitter, of course, from the wonderful Google Fonts resource, where everyone gets their fonts these days. Can Twine deploy mobile apps? I don't think yet, but if you manage to get it, I mean, it's a website, so maybe if you have a web app that's just a browser and inside you can run a Twine HTML. I think that works because pretty much everything that you can tap. Oh, by the way, of course, there are extensions to Twine, but I haven't looked into them. But I think there are even things where you can have hand gestures like pinching and to zoom and so on and so forth. But generally, pretty much everything that you can do with HTML5 works with Twine because, after all, it's just an HTML page. Your logo always makes me think of PS Vita. Which one? The Film Motion video? for the Twine Detective. This one here? The PS Vita? Really? I don't see it, frankly. Let's check. PS Vita logo. I don't really see it. I have to say. But I have a PS Vita, and Sony was really adamant that everyone should have a PS Vita. And I don't know what games I played on my PS Vita because I didn't enjoy playing with it as much as I enjoy playing with my Switch. So it was a wonderful console for the time, also with those wipey things. But apart from, what was this game? I don't really recall it. This paper crafty game. I don't think a lot of games really used those gimmicks that the Vita has, and so that is an aside. Sad fact. Not the logo, the console. The Vita. Oh, not the logo. Let's. For those who don't know, PS Vita console. Now I see it, of course. Again, it was. I think it was a beautiful console. I was also a big fan of the PS Portable, but I have no use for it, sadly. But now that you've said it, it looks like the PS Vita would have looked if it came out in the 30s. Little Big Planet. I think it was Little Big Planet that I was referring to, with this Sackboy mascot, right? I think that was the one. I played also Little Big Adventure on the PS3 and essentially gave up on it because it wasn't. I realized, you can do all those beautiful, wonderful levels, and it was completely overwhelming to me, and it didn't feel good. Again, personal experience, it didn't feel good to control this all with the controller. And I thought, when I really want to make a game, I probably won't bother trying to do this on my console. I go to Game Maker or Unity. But now there's, I think, is it from the same people? It's Dreams on PS4, and I think from aside the fact that it's something you can't actually use commercially. I think you can't sell Dreams games because it's a huge gray zone. But what I think is super commendable is that they made a game engine where you can do pretty much anything that you can control entirely with a controller, which I think is stunning, because if you come to think of it, many engines try to be super approachable, like RPG Maker or with Game Maker, where you have this entire drag and drop a metaphor going on, and you can gradually exchange your drag and drop icons with code, even Construct 3 and 2. But Dreams is just, use your controller and you can make a game, provided you got enough time to do so. My God, I'm off super on the tangent, but yeah, we've had the plane, and I didn't even complain about the plane this time. I'm so sorry. I should make better jokes. Cool. Yeah, right, back to this little game. So yeah, just change in font. The other thing that I changed is, last time this all the things that you could change were yellow, but to me as a player, it's always super important to be consistent when a game is consistent with something. And here in my game, it means everything that is white you can change, and it doesn't advance the page. So for example, if I give my detective the last name of Pony, it's white, it doesn't change the page, but if I click something that's yellow, it advances the story. Same thing here, it's Unicorno the Pony, and it's just called Pon. And yeah, this also is a bit new. This is a bit more than just having it in a mono space type. Instead, it has a little bit more layout to it, and of course it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 div boxes that are nested, because this is web design and everything needs to be nested in so many div boxes that you get your head dizzy. Right, again, so here yellow means the next passage. Here it's white, let's pick vigilant, and so on and so forth. So a bite of chocolate that we have implemented now. And here again, here is, I think, the first time where it's something that you can click that's white in a page. So if you click it, it's good. If you don't, you don't miss anything. And here now to collect your things, this page now does not advance until you've clicked those two items that are in white, which invite you to pick them up and have them in your inventory. So if I click it here, it goes here in my inventory, and if I click both of them, then there's a yellow link that advances the story. Right, so here is something new. That is, you step outside and there's a letter. There's an envelope with a letter to you. And I also thought it might be interesting to have players, of course. I mean, right now you just give yourself a first name and a last name, but I also would thought it would be nice if you could define in this way. It's very organic. It just which honorific you want the game to call you by. Is it Mr. Pony? Is it Miss Pony? Or is it Max or Mixter, or the non-binary version of Pony? And this is implemented in a way that's it might be a bit cumbersome if I show you the source code, but it's super easy when you write something, that it's always, no matter what kind of grammatical construct you have, that the game is referring to you using all the correct verbs and pronouns and whatnot. So yeah, let's go with let's stay with Mr. Pony for now. And this is also something that's new, I thought, since this was the prologue to the game, and now when I go catch my train, this is the last bit of the prologue. And so this is why automatically the sidebar just stowed itself away. When I click here now, bruises, we have a fade out and then a fade in with the chapter title. And when you say, yeah, let's begin the chapter, really to give you the feeling, okay, so now the first part is done with, and now we are here at the proper game. So this it says here, hey Mr. Pony, working early today. And this is so far the state of the game. Lady Mistleaf said, I did really like the tea, but it was less of a vice exactly. And you only had one non-drink, which made it stand out. Chocolate adds more variety. Thank you so much for agreeing. And again, it was a good idea because, yeah, with tea and coffee, it was very close and it felt a bit weird or quite of a stretch to have tea as a vice, but coffee, of course. I think this could work. White versus yellow distinction is nice. Thank you. And looks sharp. Transitions. Yeah, again, you can see me here. It's my programming is mostly trying to make the underlying code nice and then, of course, the presentation nice. So the good thing for me is now that for this very first chapter, the first case, I have already sort of an idea where I want to go with the story in this chapter, and which is something super helpful because up to this point it was just laying the tracks while you're on the train, so to speak. So I made everything look nice, but I didn't have any idea where to go with one passage to the next. I just kept writing and realized, maybe it would be nice to introduce some voice of the character. Then I coded up that bit, and then maybe the looks of a character, and that defines their character stats and so on. But for chapter 1, I have at least a very rough sketch or an idea of the branching and where things go. I won't go very far and say it's super original or something, but yeah, it's just to get myself started on writing this and also for players so that they have roughly an idea what to expect from the game. Coffee as a vice works. I've seen people that drink 4 large coffees a day. Some are weird, junkies. I've seen, sorry if you drink that much coffee too. No, I don't. My problem is that once I have a cup of coffee, you probably know that I like to talk. Maybe something gave it away. And even if I don't talk, I completely forget about having a coffee sit on my table somewhere. And usually I have like 2 cups a day, and it's mostly just very milky latte style coffee. And I keep forgetting about it. And as I was visiting my in-laws yesterday and today, I had 1 coffee for the entire afternoon. I just was talking, had 1 sip, and forgot about it. So a lot of people said they can't drink cold coffee, and I mostly know cold coffee because when I'm at the last sip, 99% of the time it has already gone cold. Right, so that is the current state of the game, and to show you how it looks in Twine, again I will just I can delete the previous one. Delete story, delete forever. This feels so harsh, but again I really love it that you can just drag and drop the HTML file of the final game and just have it sit there. Then again, if you want to copy protect or in some other way protect your game, I don't know if it's possible or how to do this. Thermal drink bottle, maybe, but then again I probably would complain that coffee is too warm too long. No, I have no problem with drinking cold coffee because, again, like I said, this is what I'm used to anyway. So in terms of the structure, what are we seeing here? So this is pretty much all the helpers and all the functions and everything. This block here is the entire intro that we've seen, where you can just set up everything. And this is here the first chapter. And also the chapter title. I have here something that is prefixed with DB, as in database, because I have the same things here for the entire game with locations, items, the character stats, resources, and so on. So this is pretty much all the data that a certain chapter or section of a game needs. And let me, this is, again, I'm sorry for this. Not too smooth scrolling or zooming, let's put it that way, because with this a tool that I have, it jumps around. So again, I apologize in advance if you get a bit nauseated by it. So yeah, again, this is the SugarCube 2 story format, because it's I am most comfortable with it because it's the most like a programming language. And the cool thing about it is that you can have blocks that just start with script and end with script, and inside of those you can have just your good old JavaScript if you need it. And most of the time you actually don't even need it. So again, it's what it does here. It's just setting up which location are we in, the daytime, the weather, and yeah, what items are contained in other items, and where the locations of certain things are. And log.i is location inventory, so it means that it's in the inventory. Yeah, about the player's pronoun, this is here the pronoun test that I have. Let me wire it up here, that after the apartment last, it looks like this. So it says pronoun are, they, the one we're looking for. I mean, they're a bit short, aren't they? So again, it's I'm using just the neutral form here in my programming setup. So and then it changes. So is he the one we're looking for, or is she the one we're looking for? And this is just testing all the grammatical constructs. For example, if the letter, then if the letter even is theirs, or is hers, or is his. So yeah, this is just my pronoun test that I have here, and it I have it here in the character, and you can see here how it looks in the character. So again, I'm using as a key just the neutral form, and then depending on either male, female, or neutral, what it is. And if you look closely, I have even different forms here for starting with the lowercase letter and then uppercase letter. Of course, I could have a function, and I already have a function in my code that I can use the first letter as an uppercase to some string, but I realized that it was just being overly cumbersome, and this is why I just put it here in in the data structure, in the object itself, and once I had it there, I can use it just as I would in the text. As you've seen here, it's super simple. If I want something to start here with a capital, I just use the key with the capital. So this is the first time, I think, that it's really helpful that there's a distinction between lowercase and uppercase in JavaScript. Cool. Right. So one thing that I'm not quite sure what to do or how to do, at least at this point, is, let me find it. There we go. Am I even centered? I think I bumped I bumped the desk too much. Right, one thing that I'm not quite sure of how to handle is the inventory. Right now it's just a list of things that you have in your inventory, and by the way, this sidebar is also not very much updated here for your character. It just shows you your stats and your looks and your preferences, and pronoun is just an object right now because I'm just printing everything that is in the preferences or preferences data object there. So yeah, this is. And also the downside of this is that it collapses each time you advance to a new passage, because I also couldn't be bothered to handle this. So right, what do I want to do after those transitions? I want to get started. So the first thing that I have here is when we enter the office building, I just copy this entire passage here and paste it so that it's a bit easier, hopefully, to follow. Okay, so this again, we're having the syntax highlighting a bit of a problem here because there are so many nested formats that I couldn't get Notepad++ to correctly format everything. So yeah, bear this in mind. So those transitions in SugarCube are super simple because they're just CSS transitions. So essentially what I do is I add the class passage fade in to story, and the CSS of the story ID class essentially just says fade in to this color over 2 seconds. And that's pretty much it. Then, of course, this is what I've told you, that you can use JavaScript, and there is an API handle to this UI bar. And I just want to say, yeah, show it and then uninstall it, which means, yeah, to just display it. And here we got include F update bar. What the hell is this? This just updates the sidebar. Where do I have it? F, I prefixed it with F. This was not it. F update bar. There it is. So it just draws the story banner and the story caption. This is pretty much everything that's happening there on the side of the UI bar. It just draws it again. And here we have the first thing that I really like about Twine in general, is that you can have this either construct, which just says, yeah, you can specify 2 or many more different options, and one just gets picked randomly. Because I thought we might enter this building more often, and so I wrote just more or less as a test just a couple of different introductory sentences to this. So it sounds, I mean, the information is pretty much the same every time, but it's just a little bit different, just to have a bit of variety in there. So you enter the frugal lobby, you step through the entrance, you push the heavy door open and make your way, you enter the lobby of the office building where you lease your little office. So it's either one of those. And this is, again, I'm really sorry that here now the syntax highlighting falls apart. So if I take this out, it's much better. And here we have, as usual, if lift boy name known RT catches your eye. So again, I have here this flag that I just specified myself. If is the name of the lift boy known, and if it is, we call him by name. If not, we just say the lift boy. He leans leisurely against the frame of the elevator doors, and if the weather is sunny, we continue with sweat glistens from underneath his uniform hat. We've started the game, of course, where it's always sunny, but again, I thought that maybe we come back to this location more often. So yeah, again, just it's a bit like procedural generation, where you want the player to feel that pretty much every level was super tightly handcrafted, but again have it procedurally generated. But of course the players shouldn't feel that it's just a random combination or a random shuffling of the dice. It should feel tailored to what's going on, and this is why I think it's always nice to have some sort or account for some sort of variety. As he notices you, he doesn't bother to appear any less bored and instead shoots you a wide grin. Hey, Mr. or Miss or Max, whatever you chose, it will have the right title. And then it says, your name last, working early today. And again, I think I'm repeating myself so many times now, but again, to me, it always feels super powerful or super interesting if I have something show up that I specified before, that the game remembered, in this case my last name. Because the cool thing with text is, for example, if you have a game like with a character creator, that you allow players to upload a photo of themselves to be used as the face texture or something. It will always look weird and off in the game. It always look like, yeah, this is the game, it has its art style, and there's this ugly texture plastered of your face on the protagonist or something, and it always will feel out of place. But here, because everything is text and it reads like a story, and it's like reading your own name in a book, and again, this is why I feel that why it's so powerful to me. Weather itself is randomized, so it just makes small elements of the world feels more dynamic. Usually the weather should be randomized, but when I'm starting this chapter here, I define the weather to be sunny. But again, I have different states for the weather, yes. Unless it's a game made by Red Hermit for uploading the picture, yeah. I don't recall my limbs being so nimble and also so easily to detach. Easy to detach. I meant weather is randomized in the real world. Oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. I mean, some meteorologists would would disagree, but probably, I mean, in the end, it's random in the long run. I don't know what the weather, no one can tell you what the weather at a certain location will be in 1 year from now, but they have a pretty good understanding of what it will be in 2 days from now. So it's semi-random, pseudo-random. Right. So again, and here is if the lift boy's name is not known. So the first time that we see this passage, the game just says the boy's name is Artie and he has been working in this building for longer than you have. And then we set the lift boy name known to true, and this is where we enter or exit this passage here. And he has been working for longer than you have. Of course, you will also spot that I'm using the paragraph tags here of HTML myself. This is because I always want no breaks to be rendered, because there usually are a lot of page breaks or line breaks in here when I'm doing just programming stuff, and I don't want any of those to be carried to the final page that the player sees. So this is why I'm just rolling my own paragraph breaks there. Right, so at this point in the story, we could either ignore Artie or talk to Artie, but either way we will take the lift to our little office. And VRGLab is here. Thank you so much, VRGLab, for dropping by. Right now we're getting started. We just arrived at our office or at our office building, and in this first passage we met the lift boy, and next up is, I want to have certain options for the player. Again, I will just copy paste this, because if you recall from last time where I was a bit nitpicky. Oh, thank you, Creative Cloud, for 9 app updates. Yeah, maybe some other time. Where I was a bit nitpicky when it came to typographically correct punctuation, because this one is not correct. This one is. And why is it not correct when I'm so super anal about this? Is because I was typing it on my tablet, on my Microsoft Surface, and it has no num block where I can just type those in. So this is why. Despite my sensibilities, had to use woe upon woe me, my poor soul. I had to use the non-typographic quotation marks. Also this one here. There we go. That's better. That's better. Right, so I just copy and paste it here, and now it should work. Right, so yes. The other thing is that where I'm a bit hesitant is, let's start here. Sorry, I'm trying to be one step ahead of myself while I'm talking. Right, one thing that I'm not too keen on is if you're playing a text game and you advance a passage and there's just this wall of text. For me as a player, especially if it's an action sequence or something, it feels like, okay, so I don't have it's like a cutscene, and I just have to go through it, and it can be rivetingly written, but again it feels like it already happened, and it's just there for me to catch up. So as a player of text games, I always like it if it just get a couple of little chunks, and then even if it's just one word that I can click, where essentially it's more of a quick time event. When I don't click it, the story doesn't advance. I hope this makes sense. So this is why maybe I want to break up this thing here, because it's quite long. So if it's more than 3 paragraphs, then I already get the scissors out and try to split it up. Right, and the other thing was I want to test only this, and not, as we see here by this little rocket ship icon. When I start the game, I usually start here at the beginning. There, of course, in Twine is the option to just start from a certain passage, starting here. But the problem I have with that is when you debug, when you test something, it shows you all. You can see here all things that are hidden usually, and it's more or less impossible to really debug maybe the layout of something undefined, writ large and clumsy longhand letters on the front. Yeah, this is why I don't like it to use this actually handy feature, but if you have a lot of programming control sequences and so on there, it's not that fun. So but the other thing is that, of course, the game at certain points already expects certain data structures to be set, as we've seen here. When I start the story here and there is no last name for the player, the game will get a bit cranky and just throw undefined errors around. How to mitigate for this? Well, I have a band-aid to the problem, and that is this debug snapshot passage that I can include pretty much anywhere where I want to start the story from. You can see here again, it sets a location that we are, it sets the first, nick and last name of our investigator, it sets stats. If I want to have certain stats that I want to check against, the looks and the prefs, and of course we don't have a pronoun here, because of course I always have to keep it in sync with what functionality I add. So we have here, again, I'm really sorry if this jumps around, pronoun and just say male for now. And of course I have here flags, and for example here, if your vice is tobacco, then the flag for is smoker is automatically sent. And finally, this silently tag here means pretty much whatever happens here, it's like Vegas. What happens between silently stays between silently. So there is no text output. And if you have line breaks or anything, even if you don't have this no break tag there set, it won't print it, essentially. So, and this debug snapshot, whenever I want to debug something, this is let's try here, include chapter gun. Yeah, let's start here, and the first thing that I do is just include debug snapshot, and include works. Just use the name of the passage, and I'm not quite sure if I need, probably it's a string. No, it's not a string. It's not a string. We're good. It should work. So where did I put it? Here with apartment 4. Now I say start story here, and for some reason this icon doesn't show up here, which means I quit Twine, I restart Twine. Thank goodness that it goes quite fast, and now it's correct. And when I hit play, it should start here, and it says it's an envelope, last, writ large and clumsy longhand letters, because last is the last name in this snapshot that I use. Lady Misleaf wrote like 10 minutes ago, goodness, I never would have noticed. And that flew over my head. Again, no idea what you're talking, probably about my obsession with the typographically correct punctuation. Again, I'm a super typography nerd, and as my wife can attest, when we drive around somewhere and I say that's not a proper apostrophe, that's a French accu or something along those lines, or that's an ASCII apostrophe, how dare they, how dare they. Yeah, I'm not very easy to live with. Right, it only would make sense in those typed things here. By the way, the font is used Courier Prime. Again, it's just from Google web fonts. Right, this I didn't want to close, but this PS Vita I can close. Right, and I make this also a bit bigger. Yeah, the SugarCube 2 documentation, it's pretty cool. It's very good. It's always got examples along with it. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the SugarCube 2 format. If I manage to make a game, do point that out if I miss the correct typography, which I probably will. You're fine. In my book, pretty much everyone is not 100% perfect in their typography, but I can really appreciate it if I see a well-typeset book and they got everything right, even some very obscure, I don't know, ampersands or something, or paragraph signs, or yeah, weird punctuation. It's always, it gives me joy that I think, yeah, someone is just big as a nitpicker as I am, and they made sure that it's right. But again, I mean, especially nowadays where you see it so often, and with smart quotes, I'm using quotes to say smart quotes, quotes. Yeah, don't bother. But again, if you ask me to, I will point them out, every single one of those. And I think I have even some regular expressions written for Notepad++, so that I can. Where are we? Here are we. That I can easily exchange all those quotes for the correct ones. Of course, this does not work when you have strings that really, really don't work too well with typographically correct quotes. Yeah. I will drink to that now. You can think of me what you will. But at least I'm self-aware that I'm a big obnoxious typography nerd. Right. Okay. So yeah, let's test this office building passage there, and for that I will just include my snapshot here on top of everything, and just start the story from here so that I can test what is going on. By the way, is the font too small? I think at this size it should work. So yeah, it's. The first one is just says you enter the building and see the lift boy. The next one just describes the lift boy, and the third one is about that the lift boy notices you and the start of a conversation there, maybe or maybe not. We all have our quirks, thank goodness. It sometimes points out things that other people are not even aware of. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the type of person. I mean, some people are super thankful if you point something out that they didn't specifically ask you to point out. But I think this has to do with your condition that you're in a certain on a certain day. Because if some people just look at something and they give critique and I didn't ask them for critique or anything, I get super cranky and feel stepped on and whatnot. But then again, if I'm really not sure about something and I just say, please read this or whatever, and they point out like this, you could do this better, I'm super grateful. So yeah, it really depends on the condition or the person or the type of character you're nitpicking, because again I'm super aware that this is not very nice, and I can come off a bit rude when I say, may I change your quotation marks because they're not correct. But how can one improve their craft if no one criticizes it? Yeah, I mean, of course, but sometimes people, at least as I've come to experience it in my experience in project management and stuff, is sometimes people don't want criticism, they just want confirmation because they're not certain about something, and maybe it's just a task that they've never done before, and if you're super critical and it's just overwhelming and they feel like, yeah, I should have never tried. But if you say in general it's the right thing to do, there are some little things that you can iron out over time, but don't worry about that. Overall, it's good what you're doing. For example, I think it's much more beneficial than to go in and say, yeah, let me bring out my right fine liner and we go over all your punctuation marks, and did you just use 2 spaces after a dot? Sorry, but I'm going to have to murder you now. So nobody wants to hear this when they ask for some general reassurance. That I can see. Sometimes people don't want criticism, they just want confirmation. Phil 2021. Yeah, but I stand by that. It's true. Again, even myself, of course, I don't take myself out of it. Sometimes I just want confirmation. I say, what do you think about this? And they go, well, and I said, yeah, never mind. I can smell criticism coming up, and I just want confirmation. Someone who will go full critique or on something I just barely started working with, I will interrupt to ask that they go easy on me, since I have little to no experience with that system. Yeah, I mean, you would expect that someone would who gives you criticism already is aware of that you maybe just started out with something, or if they don't know yet, to give them the nudge and say, yeah, just bear in mind, I just started on this. I'm only interested in this specific thing. What do you think about that and about the other kinds of things that are wrong? I'm aware of that. And the automated unicorn did just what? Oh, okay. It just spammed. I'm sorry. Just saw something plop up in the chat in the corner of my eye, and I thought, oh my god, it's important. Probably has to do with typography or something. And thanks for feeding the automated unicorn with some automated cookies. Right. So, hey Mr. Last, since working early today. So again, since this is an RPG-ish game, I want that the player has a certain agency of how they react to the lift boy. They can be a bit condescending, I think. They can just ignore the lift boy, or they can be nice to the lift boy. Who knows? Maybe the lift boy is a little brat and will just take advantage of you if you're nice to them, or maybe it's genuine. There will be something in you in the long run, karma and such, if you're nice to the lift boy. But you never know. You can't be sure. But again, let's just come up with 3 different responses that you can take. So I will copy again this out to Notepad++, and just put this in the center that you can read along, hopefully. So again, I make a paragraph and start with the first link. Okay, hey Mr. Last Name, working early today, and maybe we reply with something. This is the grumpy version. It's none of your business. Keep your nose clean, kid. So, and that I will call, because I try to have, you have to name, you don't have to name each passage, but it's good if each passage has a unique name, and I try to have some sort of structure to it. This one is called Intro 1, Intro 2, Name 2, Intro License, Intro 3, and I'm not quite sure if I want to follow that system, but this one is called Office Building 1 now. So let's just call the next one that leads off from here Office Building 1. By the way, the light is flickering because I dropped it half a year ago, and didn't get a new one, but I hope it's not too distracting. It just flickers a little bit. So Office Building 1, rude. Then the next option that we offer players is doing great, kid. How's business? Office Building 1. Nice. And finally, maybe we can ignore, or what would be, this one would be kind of rude. It's none of your business. Doing great, kid. How's business? So again, I'm not too worried about the repetition of words. I think maybe, right now I'm thinking of if you have as a player, you will notice, of course, that they have the same things. So maybe I just say it's none of your business, and the rest will come from the dialogue response. So, doing great, kid. This was the wrong one. Yeah, again with those ASCII codes, it's has turned into a second nature for me. To when I want to use an apostrophe, I just use, there we go, this one. Okay, so doing great, kid, and this goes to, you know what? I don't want to branch it off to entirely different passages where it just says Office Building 1 rude, Office Building nice, Office Building 1 indifferent. Maybe we just use a little data object that we just carry on to the next passage. And thank you, Automated Unicorn. The Automated Unicorn agrees. And then we just switch on the state. And the response from the lift boy will be different, but not the entire paragraph. Okay, so it's none of your business. Then we just say office building 2. And now it's a bit different. Okay, so far it's a bit like a wiki markup, where if you want to link to something, you put it between 2 square brackets. And if you don't use this pipe character, whatever is in these 2 brackets will be created as a new passage, which is most of the time what you want, unless you're a coder. So the alternative is to use this pipe character, and then this is the name of the passage that will be created, or if it exists, that it will link to. But at this point, we want now to set a flag or execute some arbitrary code when we click a link. And for that, this structure is not ideal. So for that, we have to use the link macro in, my God, where am I? Where am I? Here I am. In the link macro in SugarCube. So again, you can say link. This is the target or what it writes. This is the target of the link, and you can execute some script, pretty much anything as you want. Where are you? I think you're in Salzburg, says Lady Misleaf, and that is correct. And right now, the skies, I think, are clear. Where are you? I think you're... Okay, this one went completely over my head, but there you go. What was my train of thought? Right, where am I? I think I'm in Salzburg. Now I get it. I'm really sorry. I'm super slow with my... What's this mushy thing called? That's where other people have their brains. I think it's just some Limp Biscuit that I have in my head. And I'm not talking about the band. Yeah, thank you for explaining it. Now that makes it even worse if you have to explain your joke to me. I'm really sorry. Right, where was I? Salzburg. There we go. Link. So the link is, it's none of your business. And no, the link goes to office building 2. Then it says it's none of your business. And I need also a closing tag for the link, because this gets displayed when I click the link. I'm not quite sure now what happens. Have to delay this time, actually. You clued in after I send it, there's a delay with the chat. Yeah. I've measured the delay on my end. It's about 4 seconds, but I really am not quite certain with the delay on your end. But as a hint, with the pop quiz, as soon as a question has finished, as a round has finished, the Automated Unicorn will say round so-and-so over. Winners are, or there were no winners, and this is exactly the time when it switches over in the pop quiz. So if you want to measure the delay between the chat that you have, the stream. And the other thing is, yeah, if you type something in the chat and just count the seconds until it shows up below here. Right, link, my God. I'm super easily distracted, and I will just look how I did this before with link. Link, throw away, remove class, replace, you throw away. Yeah, let's just try it. I'm not quite sure of how it goes. So set, and I call this just lift boy attitude equals rude. There we go. That's the word. And then we go to where it should go. And we do this for the other links. So we say doing great kid say rude and nice. Again, those are string comparisons that we will do later on. But again, since this happens just once after when the page gets created and not like 60 times a frame, this doesn't make a lot of sense, 60 times a second, I think we're good with string comparisons. Delay test, and distracts easily, so I apologize. See, I normally have like 2 seconds left to answer when it announces winners. Okay, yeah, so this explains the delay. So with Cursey Boo, it's just a few seconds. That's good. By the way, I have low latency mode switched on in OBS, which is on by default anyway, so I hope that, yeah, I'm afraid that it won't be any less than 4 seconds or something, but I hope it's not too much. Also, I've realized that if you're watching, at least in my experience, on a mobile device, you get the stream like 1 second earlier than on the browser. I'm not quite sure if it's just for me, but yeah, just as an idea. Right, and I have the other link, and I think I maybe should even have line breaks there. There we go. And this is just ignore RT. And link lift is ignore. This is, or maybe I won't set any attitude because I will use a switch statement, and this will be just the default switch. And yeah, let's see if this works or if I made some mistakes. It's a bit like candlelight, the flickering. So yeah, I really should get a new lamp, but I don't have the budget for any of it. But yeah, I think it can go. Right, this is not what I wanted, because again, yeah, this is what I want. Play, and it just says here office building 2, office building 2, office building 2, and it doesn't lead anywhere. So apparently I made a mistake somewhere. Where did I make the mistake? Right, it says office building 2, and right, I need to set the other thing in quotes and not YY. And now you can see how funny this is here with the typographically correct quotes and the ASCII quotes for these kinds of constructs. So yeah, let's see how this goes. And it still says office building 2 and error, the passage, it's none of your business, does not exist. So okay, so maybe it would have helped if I've just read the documentation, but clearly I was just trying things out. So the first argument you give it here is what appears on the screen, and the second one is where it leads to. So I should probably make a new passage, create a new passage, and that I call just office building 2, and I just say here office building 2, and again I say no burr for no break. I take the 1 second delay and save my phone battery. And building a question mark, says Cursey Boo. I have no idea what you're referring to, but probably because you refer to what was happening right now. So let's try this. It's none of your business. I click this, and here we are in office building 2. So this is how you should be doing things. So again, I will just copy this section out here and pop it over to Notepad, that we get syntax highlighting and huge letters. Right, so it's none of your business. I make this a bit wider. Office building 2. So the next, everything that happens here happens after clicking the link. So I'm just setting this flag here, or well, it's not a flag, just setting lift boy attitude to root, and this gets executed before we jump to the next passage. Missing the I, office building, this one or somewhere else. I think it looks good, but thanks for catching my typos. Where would I be without the chat catching my typos? Because yeah, sometimes it's I've had this this structure this week. The one, let me show you, this one here, and it just wouldn't work. And I spent like almost an hour trying to figure out what was the problem. And when I zoomed in, I realized that once it made a semicolon and not a colon there. And with JavaScript, that usually eats everything and only complains when it really has no idea how to do things. It took me a long time to figure out where the error was. But building versus building. Okay, you know what? I will just look for building and thank you. So I have it twice. I have it twice now. Thank you for catching this. Is it now correct? Building. If you look at a word for too long, it looks weird. And there we have office building. Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. Thanks for not giving up. Right, so it's none of your business. Office building 2. Lift by attitude root is right. Now we have here doing great kid, and we have ignore. So this is, I don't know why I copied this so many times. So office building root, office building nice, and this one we don't need. And the link is, I need to terminate the link. No, wrong. You can see I'm super distracted from just myself, my own thoughts. Ignore. There we go, and I'm not setting anything. And now this should be correct. I'm really sorry if you're just shouting at your screen right now because I don't see the mistakes that I make. But I think we're good now. I'm working on something on the side as well, so I will probably miss mistakes. It's fine. I don't really. I'm super grateful if someone is paying this close attention to really spot typos in my code and not, as I always joke, have me babble away in some long forgotten tab, which is also fine. So I'm super grateful for anyone who's watching and enjoying me being stupid. So again, I have here a stray quotation mark, but this is good. It's none of your business. Office building does not, building, of course, no, it does not exist. My God, programming is hard. Building. I'm a noob today. I'm super slow now. So office building 2. We step back, doing great kid, office building 2, and ignore, office building 2. So this works. Good. Let's get rid of the stray quotation mark there. Good. So now we have put into existence this lift boy attitude variable. And now let's just switch on it. Switch. Yeah, let's start over again. Switch lift boy attitude, and again, this is good coding practice. Always close what you open, and there I go. Case nice, case root, and just the default, which was we ignore. So just so that I know what's happening here. And you know what? Let's just type it out and say ignore and root and nice, just to see whether our code is working. You have that effect where you make me want to be productive. Oh, really? Do I? This is so nice. I'm not quite sure if it's a curse or a blessing then, but for me, it's always reading up on old retro gamer interviews of how people got started, and I said, yeah, it was just me, my mate in our bedrooms. We would just you know, typing around on our Commodore pets, and then we thought, oh, it could be a game, and then we just went over, put it to a mate, and he just put it up on his computer store, and so we made a few bucks. And this, to me, somehow this is really this very naive thing of, yeah, you just type something up and you get to sell it and people enjoy it, and then you make the next one and get feedback and so on. It's really, this is what motivates me. I can practically quote your LD postmortems for that exact reason, same as your streams. They make me want to create things. Thank you so much. So, okay, let's try. It's none of your business. Holy moly, can't find macro switch. Why not? Oh, did I not say what we switch? How did this happen that it can't find the switch macro? Child tag case was found outside of a call to its parent macro switch. What do you want? Switch expression. Switch lift by attitude. And we have previously set lift by attitude. Probably because when you hit ignore, it's undefined. Could that be? Yeah, you know what? Let's make sure and just paste it there. But I don't think that is the problem. Ignore. I don't think that is the problem. Close tag is as we. Oh my God, Cursibu. Mwah, thank you for catching all my typos. There we go. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. It's none of your business. Rude. You saved me. Nice, and ignore. Wonderful. So you know what? I will try now to take this out. The last one, and just have lift by attitude be undefined, and usually the default state should fire when we have something undefined, and yes, this is undefined and it went to ignore. My God, thank you so much. This is pair programming. Oh man, and here I thought you were a typo in attitude. Yeah, I mean, there can only be so many places where you can have typos, but there are days, I think everyone knows of us, knows those days, and I'm having one right now, where you make a typo and you don't see it. You look at this word like 4 times or 5 times and you don't see the typo. And when you find it, then you get super paranoid, as I'm right now, and I'm looking at the word ignore, and I'm looking at it and I think, ignore, it looks like gnome, nor. It's a weird word. And this is usually the point when I think I should probably take a break. But years of the debugging gets in your brain. Yeah, thanks, Cursibu. You have this 6th sense, apparently. Yeah, I'm very grateful. Cool. So, hey, Mr. Last, working early today. The boy's name is Artin. He's been working in this building for longer than you have. So it's none of your business. Okay, let's start here with this. Let's start here, yeah, with the root case. It's a root boy. And we say here, no, it's none of your business, kid. You snark at RT, who is taken back by your attitude. Without another word, he rides you to your floor and closes the doors behind you. It doesn't, I mean, this makes sense, but without another work. This is funny when I not making typos. This is the worst. If you don't create a new typo, but you use a different word that looks almost correct, but it's not a misspelling, so you don't get the red wiggly line. And those are the hardest to catch for me. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for catching. Coming back with fresh eyes, they jump right out at me, says Lady Mistleaf. And before that, she said, walking away is an integral part of coding for me. I get so used to seeing the same thing that it looks normal after a while, typos included. I think especially with coding, and I mean with many things, you have to take a break. It's even if it's with art or something creative, or with something not that creative, with something scientific where you just look at numbers and so on. Pretty much taking a break is often a super good way to just I mean, you can't have that many energy drinks that it comes to the productiveness that you have with just a good night's sleep and looking at something again. Right. It's none of your business, kid. You snug it out. You is taken aback. Is it taken aback or taken back by your attitude? Without another word, he rides you to your floor and closes the doors at the first moment he can. Can. It's not very well written, but at least it's a start. Art is the opposite, says Lady Miss Leaf. I'll be proud of what I have accomplished, then come back and think, wow, that's uglier than I remember. Oh, really? Really? With me, it's always the other way around. With most things is I can't look at it I think, it's probably, I can probably do better. And then when I look at it again, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not perfect, but it's not that bad. But I mean, coming to think of it, clearly I've often had the other way around. Usually this is when you do something when you were already overly exhausted and tired, but tried to really buckle down and get through with it. And then especially with coding, the programming code that I've written when I was overly tired, I've made more damage to my games that way than with just being stupid. Because at a certain point you're overly tired, you look at something and think, oh, I've been doing this all wrong. No, this needs to be its own class. And no, it doesn't need to be. And you make things so much more complicated and worse. And the next day you look at it, try to make sense of your code, and you realize, oh my God, what was I thinking? This ruined. I need an hour to fix what I broke with the best intentions. Refactoring. I mean, personally for me, what is a super nice way of working is, I mean, when I have the luxury of setting my own pace, is that implementing new features or making something new, advancing the game on one day, and the next day is just refactoring and tying up all the loose ends and code double checks or just testing, and really just try to make it waterproof and then add the next functionality to it. So it's like building a bridge in a sense. You just plop down one plank that goes straight into the air where you want the bridge to go, and the next day is you put in all the rivets and really make sure that it's that you can put pressure on what you have made. Otherwise it will come crumbling down the first time you really try to put a steam engine over it. My God, my metaphors are all over the place, and usually 2 centuries in the past. Right, so nice. What did we say to Artie before? I've already forgotten it. Doing great, kid. There we go. Doing great, kid. You replay. You reply. How's business? I should have had some idea of what I want Artie to say to you. But let's try. Thanks for asking, mister. And again, I'm just going to copy what I have here with the pronoun. And this equals sign here is just means print this naked variable, whatever it is. So thanks for asking, Mixter, or maybe should Artie already call us by our nickname? Probably not at this point. Thanks for asking, Mr. Business is as bad as usual, but not as bad as yours. He smirks, and for a second you want to whack him. No. He smirks, and you realize that his joke, that his innocent joke did hurt a little. I like this. And here with ignore, you ignore the lift boy's question, and without a word step into the cubicle and right to your floor. Artie doesn't try to engage in another conversation, and you're not sure whether you would have enjoyed it either. Creative writing. I'm again, as I've said the last time, I'm feeling a bit pressured when I'm I'm trying to write something off the top of my head on stream. But it's good. It feels like it feels like I'm under pressure, and I can't just take 20 minutes for every word that I want to put on paper and then go over it like 4 or 5 more times. I will just have it as it is right now, and then when I play it and read it again, I will refine it. Almost punishes you for being nice, but that's life. Some people will do that. Yeah, again, with this game, I want it to be that it's not super clear cut. Where if you're nice to everyone, everyone will be nice to you in the long run. Maybe there are some people that just take advantage of you, and then some other people who've been really bad to maybe. Maybe they will help you either way because they're afraid that you will treat them even worse. Who knows? Or maybe it's as you would have expect things to go. Right, so let's try and see if this works. Testing. So it's none of your business, kid. You snug at Artius, taken aback by your attitude. Without another word, he rides you to your floor, closes the doors at the first moment he can. I just realized that maybe. I mean, again, maybe we should also lift boy attitude. Maybe we should keep track of this later on, where maybe we need something from RT later on, and depending on how we treated him, he will react differently. Right. So business is as bad as usual. So this was. Wait. We have here rude, nice, ignore. I also want this here. Rude, nice, ignore. Otherwise, I get, if this is not in the same sequence as it is before, I get utterly confused. Lift boy will remember this. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, there it is. RT attitude. Yes. I used it. Lift boy attitude. I only used it right now for this carryover. But I mean, if this is not undefined, you know what? Let's copy it over and say set. I didn't copy it over, did I? Paste set lift boy attitude ignored. No, just ignore. It's rude, nice, ignore. Maybe I can use this later on. Right, so rude. It's none of your business, kid. You snark at RTU is taken back by your attitude. Without another word, he rides you to your floor and closes the doors at the first moment he can. You might have made an enemy. This is why I chuckled before. You might have made an enemy. This is, as a player, I go, oh shit. I mean, it's just a lift boy, but then again, who knows what he knows? He's been working there for longer than you have. Doing great, kid. How's business? Wait, working early today? Yes, doing great, kid. How's business? And I'm not quite sure what is going on with my punctuation here, but this is not correct. So I think this period sign needs to go, and this needs to be a line break, because we got direct speech again in the next line, and that should have fixed it. I'm such a typography nerd. Sometimes I even annoy myself. Does anyone of you ever has this? Probably not. Sometimes I annoy myself. Not right now, but I feel I'm getting there. It's none of your business. It's not good. Ideas taken aback. Doing great, kid. How's business? Thanks for asking, Mr. Business is as bad as usual, but not as bad as yours. Maybe you can shorten this. Business is as usual, but not as bad as yours. I think this would be probably better. Business is as usual, but not as bad as yours. He smirks and you realize that his innocent joke did hurt you a little. We need to end all those different paths on the same spot. That is, we leave the elevator on our floor. And here, with being nice, this really doesn't carry across, so we need to add another sentence there. And yes, I can relate to annoying myself. Oh, oh dear. So there are more people out there. Thanks for asking. Business is as usual, but not as bad as yours. His marks and you realize his innocent joke did hurt a little as you leave the cubicle on your floor. Right, here we are. So we are on our floor, and yeah, I think this could be the entire segment itself. Now we just want to, by the way, this could be a paragraph, everything, and then we make another paragraph with our next steps. That would be go to my office and unlock it. But only if we have the keys. Yeah, I think this could work. Never heard the word cubicle for elevators, only depressing office jobs. Yeah, I think I've heard it as for the elevator cabin, but I'm not quite sure if cabin for the elevator is British English. So please, dear viewers, how do you call this, the thing you ride in an elevator with? Is it the cabin? Is it the fuselage? Is it the elevator car? But thanks for pointing that out, Cursibu. How would you call it? But because then I can. I mean, it's a little cubicle, right? But again, I'm not a native English speaker, so this is why I'm always second guessing my choice of words. Never heard cubicle used for elevator either. Okay, so there it's settled as the automated unicorn looks the inside of a cookie container. But automated unicorn, you don't have to. You are well fed by the nice people here on the chat. Good. So let's say elevator car. And in instances like this, thanks for feeding the little annoyance that is my entirely virtual unicorn. Right, I will, and my hubby googled it in case it was British. They say lift. Right, it is a lift. But thanks for, wow, this is quite a service, having someone else even Google it for me. By the way, in terms of Googling something for someone else, I mean, you probably had this before where people said, does the store is open on Monday? And then you reply, let me Google that for you. And I think there is even a site where you can just link to something and then it types the text here and it Googles it for the person. So if you want to be snarky, you can let me Google that for you. Right, what I want to do was Wikipedia and elevator, and if we're lucky, elevator, it will tell me what this thing is called. Design doors, double-decker elevators, maybe there is something. Attraction elevators with cars. Okay, so it's elevator cars. Is it? Oh my god, round trip time cake. I mean, this is Wikipedia, right? At a certain point, no matter the topic, someone will put some I want to say equalizations, but that's not it. Some formulas of it there. Control F, cubicle. It's not there. How dare they? So, elevator or lift is a type of cable-assisted, hydraulic cylinder-assisted, roller track-assisted machine that vertically transports people. Right. Design doors, time calculations, types of hoist mechanisms. Let's go with traction elevators. Electric motors geared, warm gears to control mechanical elevators by rolling historical. And this is pretty much every writing session for me. At a certain point, I research words. When was this word used? Is this the correct word used? Is this the right phrase that was used? And here we are again. Brake is mounted between, so it's bringing down redundancy. Kevlar cables, wonderful. The cab, or underslung below a cab. So I think we're here at cab. I have car and I have cab. If the elevator cab is at top, I think I will go with cab. Also, my hearing is horrible, so even with headphones, he ends up hearing an entire stream. Oh dear. Oh dear. And yeah, physics stuff. Equations. Yeah, it's not equalizations, equations. Thank you. Yeah, it's apparently it's not the best day to do some writing when I'm fumbling for words again. Because I have this thing where I feel I have a certain shortcoming in my Broca area of the brain, if I recall linguistics correctly. It is that I know what the... No, it's not the Broca's. It's the other part of the brain. The one that knows the words. The other part that has a name. Never mind. It is where you exactly know what exact the word is, how it feels like, how it looks like, but you can't grasp it. It has like 3 syllables and ends with a U, and it feels like that, but yeah, you can't really get it. So I will go with elevator cab, I think. Let's check cab, and we got 77 matches, and let's go with car. We got the car and passengers. We got 133 matches. Look at this. Hold on to your papers. There we go. The force each car to stop. The car stops. Elevator car. I will go with car, but cab sounds nice and old-timey. The side that knows the things, exactly. That's the side in my brain that knows the things and the names to the things and what things are called. So here we are again. Google Ngram. Fewer. And now I will try with elevator cab. Does this lead to anything? No, it probably has to be one word, right? And cab and car is probably not too helpful. Let's try elevator cab, elevator car. There we go. Elevator cab is even relatively rarely used, and elevator car had its high time in around 1930. 13, by the way. What was 1913? Okay, now we're detectives. The new city hall in Hanover, Germany was built in 1913. Any else here? Maybe 1912. Commercial engineer and electrical co-authored a book titled Commercial Engineering for Central Stations. Yeah, probably along those lines, around that time, is that when elevator car was the highest in use. So I think it's settled. Oh, Glasgow, where I'm from. Really, you're from Glasgow, Panda Head Scotty? That's cool. Greetings to, is it Scotland? I think it's Scotland. I'm quite sure that Dundee is Scotland, right? But I'm not sure about Glasgow, but I'm 90% sure. Cab is old-timey, but we would say car if pushed, I think. Yeah, let's go with American English. Yeah, it's American English, because in the 1940s, where my game is set, I mean, it was not all-time low, but it was in the 60s. It was at an all-time low. I will go with elevator car. I will go with car. Where was I? Salzburg, right. But it's not, at least without another word, at least it's not cubicle. Who's taken back by attitude, business as usual, leave the car on your floor and into the elevator car. Yeah, let's be sure and super verbose and just say elevator car. Elevator car. There we go. Yeah, Dundee is northeast. I live in London at the moment, though. So you're quite well traveled then, at least in the Great of Britain. Then that's cool. Yeah, I've only known someone from Dundee, and I know that of course DMA design is from Dundee, and yeah, there's a university in Dundee. So yeah, I've all my knowledge about Scotland is mostly centered around Dundee. Right, I think let's test this again, but I mean, it's just a change of words. So elevator car, beautiful. Business as usual, but not as bad as yours. You smirks and you realize that this innocent joke did hurt a little as you leave the elevator car on your floor. Right, okay, so unlock your office. And I think I don't need any checks now for that. So I call just call this office building 3. My typing today, I'm really sorry. Elevator conundrum resolved. Kinda. I'm not quite sure with it whether elevator car is the one that I'd be looking for, but yeah, I trust Wikipedia on this one. Famous last words, especially in the academic context, but yeah. I trust Wikipedia on that one. So here we are at Office Building 3, and again, no break. And at this point, I want to check if the player has the office keys in their inventory, because if not, they need to get them, probably. You sound like you're still unsure, though. I am still unsure. I don't, again, I was so happy with Cubicle that no one else uses, and to my side of the brain that knows things, it felt quite all right. It was like a 90%, 95% match. Okay, office building. So how do we check if we have something in our inventory? Let's revisit it. Let's revisit how I do my inventory. And my inventory looks like this. It's just a JavaScript object that has a key, and each key is another object. And what is important is also that at the end I also add item locations. So in addition to all these keys like is container, visible, name, and so on, I also check where the location of this item. And let's do this. Where is it? Item locations. This is what this looks like. And all the locations at the beginning of the game are in the apartment. And when you have something of loc I, it is in the inventory. And I've also already prepared something, and that is, if I can find it, story banner, story caption, inventory. I think that was the inventory. No, this is for the sidebar, of course, the inventory. But no matter, we will take it as it is. And we just essentially, or no, I have it even better. Let me just find it. Where did I have it? Show items. This one here. Show items. This shows all the items at a given location. And it does this by just going through this list of items and just checks if the item location is the current location. And if so, it even counts them and pushes them to a new array that just called item. And then for all the items, it just lists them. But all we need to do is I just say, what do I need? Key items count. Yeah, let's just copy the lot of it and paste it here. So I'm not interested in the count of something, and I'm just interested in a certain item that I want to check. Maybe I could even make a JavaScript function out of it, because I have a hunch that I probably use this more often to see if a certain item is present in the player's inventory. But for now, let's just try this. So I'm converting all the objects that I have. You know what? I do this again here in Notepad. It's much easier to see and follow. So I just use all the keys and set key is keys, and the item is the item of the key, and if the item location, if something is in the inventory. But now I also make an if and say if it's a certain item. So you know what, maybe set item is item. If item is equal to item, and there we go, office keys, and I hope I've typed this correctly, only then we check if the location of office keys, if item location is in the inventory, if then essentially we just return true, because then the player has the item that they need, and otherwise they don't. So you know what, I really return true, otherwise return false. So push, we don't need this. So you know what, I make a function out of this, because I will be probably needing this quite often. And again, here we have the option to edit the story JavaScript file, and I already have a lot of JavaScript in here. One thing is just to capitalize something. One is here to replace a stat check with something that you can hover over. And to add this, you just need to say setup and then the name of your function, then you add the function. This is how this works in SugarCube. So just say setup check item, or is item in inventory, is item in inventory equals, or function is item in item in inventory. And of course we need to ask an item, or yeah, it's just an item that we want. And now just Sorry, I just paste what I have and I try to convert this. So let keys object keys of object item. Okay, maybe of course I need even to give it the item that we're looking for and all items or items object. Okay, so the keys are all the keys from item objects, and for I to 0, there we go. Yeah, good old JavaScript. Keys length I++. For some reason I really enjoy JavaScript because because it lets you do stupid things and it's so easy. Right, so if no, I didn't touch anything. I don't know why I just jumped back. Okay, so if so keys, right, if keys I is equal to item and if item location is equal to log I. I also should I also need essentially to say is item at location, because then I also need to have a parameter in which I say the location. So first we say the location, then the item and all the item objects. So location, right. So if item location is the location, return to sender, no, return true. Otherwise return false, and that's that. I hope this makes sense. And let me check the chat. I'm not honestly sure JavaScript is that forgiving. Maybe Twine makes it more forgiving than it seems. I think it is that's the case, because you can hide a lot of the error messages you get just in those silently blogs where it's like a try catch without catching anything and just trying something. Is this proper JavaScript? This let I to 0, or I think that's right. Let I equals 0. I is less than the length of the keys. If the key at position I is the item, and if the item location is the location, then we return true. Yeah, this looks correct. Oh, of course. This looks correct. Let's see what the compiler is throwing at us. Detectively, they detected. It is. I was just writing about a for loop. Don't forget. Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you, Cursiboo. Right. My God, this is what. Where am I? Oh, right here. This is what you get when you do Game Maker for too long, and you don't use those 2 or even 3 equal signs to do something. So if, yeah, oh, my God, this is a classic newbie mistake, right? So if keys is icon and item, and item is location. Okay, it looks right? It looks right. So is item at location, and this is what we check. So script, and end of script. And now I can just go set up is item at location, and I think it was location is lock I for inventory. The item is $item office keys, and of course all the items are just $items. Let's hope that this works. So let's just say if that print yes, else print no. The good old debugging by print. Okay, let's see if this works. It should not work. No, it should work, because in this debug snapshot, no, it should not work. It should not work because in this debug snapshot, we actually don't have the keys. All the keys are still at the apartment in this case. So yeah, let's see how this goes. And error, script bad evaluation, lock is not defined. Oh, of course not, because I'm using Twine or SugarCube notation. Maybe if it's just, if I don't use this, maybe if I just get rid of the $sign, I don't think that that's how you do it, but yeah, it's lock is not defined, yeah. Okay, good, so probably it's not in script, but I can say set has item is, and that should work, because that's still SugarCube. And then I can say if has item yes, else no. End of if, and there we go. Be right back. I think it's time to make some food. Oh, good. Global variable scoping. Oh my, yes. Welcome to my world of pain. Okay, let's see if I did this correctly. So set has item. If I start a variable with an underscore, it's just a temporary variable, and if it's with a $sign, it's a global variable. And this is the scoping that you have here. So if I has item, and this is the location that I want to check. This is office keys. This is the item I want to check, and this is the list of items. Let's double check that at least this is correct. So items, there we go. It's set item. No, it's already having here a problem. So item, list of items is just $item, because of course it is. Right, and as for the office keys, train ticket, license, wallet, gun, office keys. You know what? I would just copy this to be super double, triple sure, and just paste it. And nothing changed. Oh, good. I wrote it correctly. So let's try this. So we should get a no, at least, and not an error. We get an error. Okay, where did I miss the? Of course, yeah. The closing bracket. This is to be expected. Let's try this again. No, it worked. And now let's say, yeah, I want the items location, the office keys, I want to set them in the inventory. And I do this here in this debug snapshot. So this is location. Yeah, the location itself is not that important because the location is already specified. But I say items and set the office keys location to the inventory. Play. So we should have here the office keys in the inventory. This is correct. And we should get a yes. Darn it. Okay, so what's the problem? Let's examine our JavaScript again. Is item at location? So we check the location. We provide the location, the item, and all the item objects. So return true if location is equal to location. Did I mistype here something? Let me copy and paste it again. No, I did not. Location is always correct. And I is less than the keys of the length. I plus plus keys items. That's programming. That's just staring at something, scratching your chin. Okay, we're stepping through all the keys. And if the key at I is the item, and if the item location, maybe we should check instead the location that we're at. So if whatever item there is, oh, you know what? Let's be super verbose and just say let this item is keys at I. And if this item is the item we're looking for, this item, and if this item location is the same location, I mean, I didn't change the functionality of the code, but you aren't using keys I, says Cursiboo. Thank you. Let's check again. Let keys is the length of keys. And I'm using keys I. Let this item be whatever the key we're currently in. And if this item, I think that's the problem. I think that is the problem, because this gives us just the key, right? But the item, we need to use the key that we get in this object of items. So let this item, does this work? Does this work? Let's give it a try. I expect the worst. I expect the worst, actually. But we got the office keys, and bad evaluation items object keys is undefined. Yeah, of course it's undefined. But JavaScript is so forgiving, is it not? You know what? I just copy this over here that it's easier to follow and easier to read. No, it's not Java, it's JavaScript. There we go. Right, so location is an enum, right? Item, the problem here is I get the keys of the items object, right? And this item should be not just the key, but the object itself, right? I hope I can this makes sense what I'm thinking of now. Right, so this item that we're currently looking at is, so the keys just gives us back essentially office keys and gun and so on. And I want actually to have in item and use gun or office keys, whatever there is as the object, right? I want this object back, and for that I want to use this kind of weird notation, but I don't think that this is how you do it in JavaScript. So because it's not called keys I, it's the string at this position that I want to use as the key, right? Cursiboo says this item is a key, so you need to do objects, right? Yeah, there we go. This, thank you, exactly. And maybe I should, of course, copy it over to the actual JavaScript. There we go. And yeah, I think that was the problem in my brain. Yes, and it works. Beautiful. So that was the problem. And we solved the problem. And now we can say you open the office with your keys. You don't have your office keys with you. They are probably where you last left them. Maybe you should pick them up from your apartment. I mean, right now it's just more flavor text in a sense, but right now, you know what, I don't even need to set this has item to this. I can just say if this returns true now. So I will save myself one line essentially. So if setup is item at location, location is question for my programming buddies. The function is called is item at location, and the series or the order of the parameters is, again, it says is item at location, and here says location and then item. Should I switch this around? Would this make more sense, or is it more logical as it is now? This is the location that I want to check for this item, and this is the entire list or object of items. Could you also just check the location by looking at item office keys location? Of course. Of course I could. Of course I could. So if item office keys location is equal to locations I inventory, this is the exact same thing. Yeah, of course this is much simpler, right? And without having to step through the entire object and check for each. Okay, there cannot find a closing tag. Okay, now what did I break here? I've never been that finicky with it, really, so long as the needed variables are included, says Lady Mistleaf. I usually end up mixing them up anyways. I always refer to the initial function declaration. Yeah. Okay, good. So, if item office keys location is equal to lock.i. Apparently this does not work for some reason. Depends on how you design the item architecture. Right. The item architecture, I think you've seen it, is items is item, and this item is a huge object of just having this string key and then another object. So in this case it's train ticket, wallet, gun, office keys, and at the very end the locations get assigned. So it's location apartment, or if you're carrying it with you, it's lock.i for inventory, because I thought I would be using this quite often. So item, wallet, location, office keys, location. I will just copy this. Maybe that was the problem. So if item, office keys, location, paste. No, it was the same thing. It's equal to, oh, of course, yeah, this. Probably this messed it up here, so I would just copy or cut this other if statement. I think that was the problem. So let's try this. Unlock your office keys. You open the office with your keys. Yes. So this entire thing here that I did is item at location. In this case, I didn't have to use it. So yeah. But it's good that I have it. So I would just put it here and say is item at location, and then I just paste it here and just call this stub item at location. So that maybe I can use it later. But my god, yeah, thanks. I was again overcomplicating things for myself. So if the item that we're looking for is in the inventory, yeah, don't need. I mean, for the other items, it would also make sense to make it simpler. But yeah, I think we're good now. You don't have your office keys with you. They're probably where you last left them. Let's try this. So I will get rid of this include debug snapshot. So we should start off with an empty inventory. There we go. And it says you don't have your office keys with you. They're probably where I last left them. Now I will close all my tabs with my previous attempts. And my god, it's 11:30 p.m. and I'm already getting a bit drained, I have to say. But yeah, even made a bit of progress. Lady Misleaf says, kind of like a check collision static bodies item. It mostly checks the same static bodies every time. It's the most common thing to check, so it goes first. But I'm checking multiple items for those collisions, so I would call it multiple time over different item each. So coming to look at the order of the parameters, is item at location. Location. You know what? Yeah, I will keep it as it is right now. Or what? No, you know what? I have a sliver of doubt, and I will just say item, then the location, and then the number of the items. And of course I need to do this also here. So it's item at location and the number of the items. Cool. This relates to variable order I wrote previously. Okay, so it's probably not just me then. Cool. Okay, so what have we to show for after today's stream? Well, we have here this passage where we can have different responses to the lift boy and store it in a variable. And this variable determines the outcome of the next paragraph of the next passage. And the passage thereafter just checks whether we carry a certain inventory item with us. So I think, yeah, again, I will leave it at that for now, and I'm still not quite sure if this is what I want to do with the inventory system, but probably I will have a special passage perhaps where that works much like a function where you click something and it says, yeah, I want to use an inventory item with that. And then it lists your inventory items and says, yeah, which one do you want to use with that? And then you click something and it either works or it doesn't. Crazy Poo says, searching would be right if items weren't global singletons. Yeah, because if it's a singleton, I mean, it's accessible from anywhere, but yeah, probably I wanted to be more clever than I needed it to be for this. Exactly, yeah. Because it's always the same list or the same object for all the items. So yeah, I can do very, very simple checks like this. But again, yeah, thank you for pointing that out to me, that I was trying to be too clever. Right, so I probably have to finish my water now. So tasty. And the one last thing that's always important is publish to file. And what did I call this? Twine Detective, and it's the 18th now. It's 23 o'clock and 23 minutes. There we go. And now I can stuff this back into my Dropbox that I can continue in a cafe somewhere, because this is really cool about Twine or text games. You can develop them essentially on a potato. Unless, of course, you're completely shooting out of the park with your JavaScript, which at this point I don't yet, but yeah, we will see how that goes. Cool. Wonderful. So thank you so much for joining me in this little programming session, and Cursiboo, thank you so much for catching all the little errors that I had made and the typos. So without you, I probably would have been looking at the missing I in building as a passage name. It's all very precarious, come to think of it. But again, I'm very grateful that you actually looked at my code and double checked it. Yeah, it's programming on stream is a bit like writing on stream. It feels a bit like, oh dear, I should be much faster while people are looking. But again, the more I do it, the better I get with it. And yeah, I hope, I learned something. I don't know that all of you learned something, but again, yeah, it's a bit the joy of programming. And again, I hope I could carry across my passion that I have for this weird little text engine and what's possible with it. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for joining this stream, for correcting me and so on. And I hope you have a great week. And or a switch looks like a short form of sandwich. You did. I have a project with a deadline you encouraged me to work on. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. For your other comments, I completely lost the context to it. But yeah. Quality time. Oh my God, this is so nice. Now you're being just too nice. You're just flattering me. You forgot the T in switch room. Oh yeah, that one. Again, I thought you were talking about the switch. Thanks, marketing. Yeah, I probably have to finish another golf tournament. But I've really showed Toad who the best golfer is. At least on the first course. Don't make me jealous. I don't have one. Oh, you probably should get one if you get a chance to. For me personally, I'm not interested in the PS5, not interested in the new Xbox, but I'm super happy with the Switch that I have. And for me, I don't even use it as a handheld. To me, it's just I plug it in there and just play it there on my computer. As a stationary console. And yeah, with this Mario Golf game, short review so far, I'm having a lot of fun, especially with the adventure mode, but it's a bit rough around the edges, which is weird for a Nintendo product. So clearly maybe they needed to have it to rush it out to a certain date or something. Yeah, it doesn't feel as lovingly crafted as all the other games. I really can't put my finger to it, but some of the models, they feel a bit cheap. Or there is this one instance where you have this fence going up the hill, and it's not a fence that follows the rolling hill. It's just fences like this, so stacked, but halfway they vanish. They disappear into the hill, for example. And yeah, I really can't put my finger to it, but some of it, at least in terms of level design, feels a bit slapped on. But yeah, don't know what to make of it, but at least the golf game, the mechanics themselves are super fun, and so far I haven't regretted my purchase. Wow, end of tangent again. Toad is the best racer though. Yeah, he can be lucky. Toad can be lucky that there are no carts on this golf course, because probably then he would have won, at least on the Rainbow Road. Right. Cool. Yeah, again, you know me, I don't know how to end streams, so I will try to make this quick, as always. Have a great week. See you next week, where I'll be probably still have the same hair with just a bit of dark roots, probably. All right, have a wonderful week, and may the unicorns bless you with sparkles and whatnot. Bye.